Shawna and Jody here with Real Sisters, Real Talk.
We're glad to have you joining us as we talk about growing in our faith with God. Hey, Happy New Year, and welcome back to Real Sisters, Real Talk. I'm Jody, and here with my sister Shawna, and we are excited to jump into 2025. We have just lots of things on our hearts and that we want to share, but also we have been off for a couple of weeks. We did a couple of encore episodes over the holidays, so Shawna and I could spend time with our families. And so just wanted to share one of my highlights, and then I have a question for you, sister. But my granddaughter, Faye, turned 2 on December 21st. And so we got to celebrate her birthday just 2 days before Christmas Eve, it's just kind of crazy and a little bit chaotic, but so much fun. And I just am so proud of my son and daughter-in-law. They did such a good job of marking it for her. Like the things
awesome.
that they did just to make it special. And it was really fun because this year she gets it. And so
yes, I was going to ask you about that. Like, what was her response to the things?
Oh my goodness. She is so precious and she's so verbal, but she loved everything about it. She would, when she woke up on the morning of her birthday, they had all of her friends, so all of her stuffed animals lined up on the table with all party hats on and a balloon. Seriously,
that
so cute.
So cute.
Yeah. And you know what, for dinner, they had donuts that morning. Ty went and got donuts, and then Kellen made sausage because she loves sausage for breakfast, and then like last night we had, when we got together for her birthday, we had In-N-Out for dinner because she likes In-N-Out. Like, it wasn't like they had to do anything extravagant.
Right.
But it was just, she loved every moment. She loves her people. She loves having her people together.
Here's the thing, like, feeling loved is not about extravagance. It's about, I see you. I see you, Faye. I know you love In-N-Out. I see you, Faye. I know you like sausage for breakfast. You know what I mean? Like, that's what makes me feel known and loved and seen, is when, those little details are caught and celebrated.
And that is such a good word. So like, we have to be paying attention. This is such a good learning. We have to be listening. We have to have our heads up. We have to have our eyes up, seeing people, right? Because that's the best way to love them, is by seeing them and knowing them. And so we got to see that in our little peanut, which was so fun to celebrate
fun.
her
It's
second
wild
birthday.
that she's 2. I just have to say that, like,
it's hard to
where
believe.
does the time go?
We feel the same way. We just cannot believe she's 2 already, and she's such a character, so much personality. So we just love that. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Now, you celebrated Christmas with your family because you guys were all together for Thanksgiving. So shortly after Thanksgiving is when you celebrated Christmas with your family. So what was that like then, for Christmas to come and the holidays? Like, what was your whole experience like? How was it different? Was it good? Was it weird? What was it?
It was so good. So first of all, Grant, Eden, and Selah live in Australia, and they were stateside. So, and my daughter, who lives in the Czech Republic, was also stateside. So to have us all under one roof, like, there's just, I don't even know how to describe what happens in my heart. And I think this is just a mama's heart thing when your birdies are in the nest. Like, that's just, it's the best. So that was wonderful. Getting to know, like, what Selah likes and what she doesn't like, and how she likes to be held, and being a part of bath time, like, all of those things were just amazing. So that was really, really sweet. That I expected. But what I didn't expect was, so we did Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day, and then the following day, Friday, we went out to a tree farm, cut down a tree, brought it home, decorated. And then Saturday morning, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, was Christmas morning for us. And all day that day was Christmas Day for all of us being together. So what was so sweet about that happening at Thanksgiving is that the whole month of December was not about shopping, was not about gifts. Like, it freed up unintentionally. Like, it wasn't this wasn't the plan. The plan was, hey, everybody's here, let's celebrate while everybody's here. But the benefits that came were, even in the middle of all the crazy, because I had, speaking engagements and work and our station hosted a concert, so there's this, so I was put up in a hotel. And so anyway, it had the normal crazy. It just lifted off the shopping part. And that ended up being a real blessing. I'm like, I would not be opposed to giving gifts, kicking off the month of December by giving gifts to one another in the future to free up December from that.
I love that. So is there anything that I mean, I know there was still the busyness of work and all of that kind of stuff and church life. And is there anything that you feel like you were able to add because you weren't shopping? Or do you just feel like the chaos was a bit out of it?
I literally do not know how I could add one more thing
Yep.
to my December. And I feel, we talk, this is accountability for me because we talk all the time about like margin and pace, and
Yeah.
we have to be intentional about it because, yeah, sometimes I think we wear being busy like a badge of honor, and it's not. And I'm grateful for the things that I get to be a part of. I really, truly am. And I love being a part of the things that I'm being a part of. But I also feel like in reflecting on 2024 and moving into 2025, I need to apply some wisdom to what I say yes to
Yeah.
and my schedule.
Yep, that is such a good word. This fall has been so busy for me, and it's been really good things. And I wouldn't have wanted to give up any of it. And yet there's I'm doing that same evaluating coming out of 2024 and entering into 2025. So how do I do this intentionally? I don't want to, um, yeah, I don't want to live in chaos. We're
Right.
not God is a God of order, and we're not to live in chaos. So not that, but I also want to be about the things that he's inviting me into, or
I,
that
f-
yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
that no, it's okay.
I feel like this is such like stepping into a brand new year is such a natural opportunity to reflect back on 2024 and then be intentional about 2025. And um, there's this process. I used to work for a leadership organization, and we use these questions: what's right? Like look back, what's right, and celebrate it. What's wrong? Identify those things that are not what they should be. What's missing and what's confused. And I mean, that was, I don't even know, like at least a decade ago when I worked for the leadership organization, but those remain a part of my normal kind of like touch points of like, all right, let's evaluate. Let's look at 2024. Let's be intentional about 2025.
I love that. So would you do that as, I mean, I know you do that as a year end evaluation, but would you recommend doing that almost quarterly? Those
Yes.
questions?
Yes, and I don't I want to be fully honest with you. It's not like that happens for me on January 1 and March 1 and July 1, and like it doesn't look like that for me. But I would say I probably did it twice probably in 2024, to be honest. But it's a healthy reflection. Like it's helpful. And I don't do that like sit down and logically and rationally think it through. I am using my logic and my, hopefully, but it's a prayerful experience for me. It's like, Lord,
Yes.
help me to see what I don't see. Cause sometimes you don't see the tree for the woods or something like that. The woods for the tree. I don't know. You know how good we are at these. You always get them mixed up. Sometimes we're just doing life and we're just going through the
Yep.
motions, and there are things that we set in place and we just keep doing those things. And I think from time to time it's healthy to stop and go, am I supposed to be doing the things? Like all the things that I've set in motion
Right.
that I just do, like, are they right? Are they good? Maybe it was for a season, and maybe that season has come to an end, and maybe we need to think a little bit differently about what's next.
Right. Which is healthy and good. And I think sometimes it can be a little bit scary because we might feel like we need to let go of something that we actually like or enjoy. Like, and honestly, I'm just gonna be really frank here. Like,
Yes.
Sean and I, even as we approach the end of 2024, started talking about the podcast. Is this something that we move forward in? We want to pray into that. Is this something that we both love doing it? Is it what we're supposed to be doing? And I do think we both agreed that's how we want to move forward. We're moving
Right.
forward. But those are things that we always need to evaluate, and we want to be taking the time to do that. And so that really, what we want to talk about today is just even what our process has been in kind of shutting down 2024 and intentionally leaning into 2025. So how do we start a new year
Mm.
with real intention? And I love what you just said, Shauna. We do it logically. I mean, there's thoughts. We use our brain. God gave us our
Mm-hmm.
brain, but we also do it prayerfully. And that means that we need to set time aside to kind of get quiet and ask the Lord
Mm.
what he has. I just recently got to spend some time at a church last month at Shoreline Church, and I did some teaching on leadership development. And one of the things I did at the very end of it was I actually created time. I actually had them sit quiet
Mm-hmm.
with the Lord for just under 10 minutes. It wasn't long, but just under 10
Oh
minutes.
wow, that is
And
long. Especially if
but
you're in a room with other people, that's a big.
okay,
You go, girl! Like
Okay,
woohoo!
yeah. Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
What I said is, like, leaning into that when I was introducing it, is I said, I always, if I ever do this, like when I teach on prayer, I try to do that to create space. I always feel a bit apologetic, like, well, you had me come out to teach, and now I'm going to tell you to be quiet with the Lord. And so, like, I had taught, like, I had taught for about 40 minutes, but I the truth is, and I did tell them this, there is nothing greater I can give you
Mm.
today but these 10 minutes, like, to create space.
Yeah, I recently heard John Mark Comer, author
Yeah.
of
So many books.
Elimination of so many books, yeah, right? Like Practicing the Way, Ruthless
Oh,
Elimination of Hurry, something about lies. He's really, really good.
he is so
He's a
good.
smart man, lots of books.
Yeah.
But I
Yep.
recently heard him say, um, if when we have the opportunity to teach and we're bringing forward a message of faith and the things of Jesus and the ways of Jesus, if we do nothing else than give people an opportunity to be quiet and be with the Lord, we've done a beautiful thing. And you did that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think, like, in that format, the idea is, like, to show that this is not scary. This is actually a beautiful thing, and you can do this at home. These are some of my sweetest times. And so between Christmas and New Year's, I take a few days off because I have extra vacation time. So I always end up kind of taking a couple days off. And that's how I spend my mornings, is because that's when I feel like I am the most attentive. But to start my day that way, of just sitting quiet with
Mm-hmm.
the Lord. And so I did this year. For the first time, I actually created a whole document just out of some different resources of questions to kind of process through with the Lord.
Ooh, I want that document.
I'll send it to you.
We should make it available
Yeah, we
for our
can.
listeners. Yeah. Like, not with your personal reflections on it, but just like so that they can ask themselves the questions.
I'm just an open book.
I'll send
No,
you the document of my deepest, darkest secrets and what needs to change in my life.
all the failures, yeah. So yeah, I just feel like even kind of slowing down, like, not just kind of reading through it and going, yeah, this, yeah, that, but like to really slow down and, Lord, what do you want to show me?
Yeah.
What do you want to show me about this question? What did I learn this year? In that capacity. And even to look at it, you've said this so many times before, but like, for my work, for my family,
Right.
for
To
my
break it
walk with
down.
the
Yeah.
Lord,
That's so good.
right? Because all of those are pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
So
I'm going to be totally honest with you as well. When we say I'll be honest, we're not saying that most of
mhm.
the time we're lying to you.
Yeah, no.
We're just saying
It's a
that at
vulnerable
this
moment.
point, I'm going to pull back the curtain. I'm going to show. But I have reflections rumbling around in my mind because I know that it's that time of the year, but I have not sat in the quiet. I've not created that space to really to really think through what the changes I want to make look like. But I do have things that are on my mind, and I need to, I want to sit with the Lord and figure out what that looks like moving forward. But it might be helpful, Joseph, if you're open to it, to just kind of share some of the things as we intentionally lean into 2025 that we're going to do differently, or some of the things that the Lord has surfaced for us. What do you think?
I love it. I think that's a great idea. And even as you were sharing, I was also thinking, I wonder if real time making decisions here, like maybe the beginning of February, we kind of revisit again
That's a good idea.
as kind of so that we can kind of just keep in this journey because it's
Yeah.
not like, oh, I sat down on December 26th and this is what God gave me. And this is the change. Like we're a work in progress.
Yeah. Actually, the work in progress piece connects. We had a conversation about a book that I had read that I recommended to you and that you had read,
Oh my
Fearless Leadership.
goodness.
Fearless Leadership, Jamie Winship. So good. And
Living
actually,
fearless.
Living Fearless. I'm so sorry. What did I
Yep.
say? I don't know what I said. Anyway.
Fearless leadership.
Oh, no, it's not that. But that would be good too. He had to
It would
write a
be.
book
Yeah.
called Fearless Leadership. Okay, Living Fearless, Jamie Winship. Um, and one of the things that I learned walking through that in, my true identity in Christ, and I'm not going to explain the whole thing to you, but what I heard the Lord say to me specifically is that I am a seat saver. And so in 2025, I just want to know everything that the Lord has to say about that. So I'm going to be seeking out scripture that talks about, like, being that we're seated with Christ. Like, what does that mean? Like, I want to dive into that. And what does it mean scripturally? What does it mean to push out space and save space for other people to enter into, to sit with the Lord at his table and to be with him? And so that's one of the things that I'm intentionally leaning into in 2025 is what I learned from Living Fearless, Jamie Winship's book, in 2024.
I love that. So, one of the things I'm leaning into for 2025 is something actually from a lot from John Mark Comer's book, Practicing the Way. Is that the
Yeah.
name of it?
Yep.
We're going to butcher book names today. Um, so, sitting in the presence of God is something that has been so important to me for so many years. And it's so it's something that is part of my practice. And but for 2025, I really believe that that's something I need to lean into even more. And so I'm going to create rhythms. Part of like they call it rule of life, like how we
Mm-hmm.
practice spiritual disciplines. And so one of my rhythms, one of my disciplines of my rule of life that will come for 2025 is really setting significant amount of time weekly to sit quiet with the Lord and create that space to just sit in his presence. And it might be walking, but quiet with him.
Right. So when you say significant amount of time, what does that mean to you? Because that'll look different to different people.
Exactly. That's a really good point. So this year, what I wrote down is, and it's, that's so funny, but it's a little bit scary to say it out loud, right?
Sure. Come on.
Because
Accountability,
it kind of
girl.
commits, right?
That's
There
right.
we are.
What you got?
So like, 10-minute increments I can find. I put down that I want 25 to 40 minutes once a week of a set time where I have that chunk of time
Mm-hmm.
to sit with the Lord or walk with the Lord.
Yeah. It's good.
Um, and if I need to ask him a question, I can do that. I might just enjoy being in his presence, but
Yeah.
I want that amount of time to be with him. Working through that book, Living Fearless, this last fall, there's so much that God shows us in those moments, things that we think are normal or they're just who I am. And there's so many things in my life I feel like God is like, I just want to show you truth here, Jody. I want to
Mm-hmm.
love
Yeah.
you in this. I want to free you
Yeah.
from some of this thinking, just wrong thinking. We've talked about that a lot, sister,
Mm-hmm.
just even in our conversations off the podcast, like this, what is this block and this wrong thinking? And so, yeah, that's one of the practices I'm committing. I've now said it to a couple people, but now I just said it on the podcast. So
There you go.
I'm committing to this. Like this, I think this is an important part of 2025 for me. And I do believe it came from the Lord. And we've talked about this too. Like, God's inviting me to spend time with him. No, no,
Mhm.
he's said, like, this is legit what you do. As a
Mhm.
believer in Jesus Christ, this is what you do. You need to spend time with the Lord.
Right?
It's an obedience thing.
Yeah, that's so good. So,
Yeah.
we're talking about I mean, we've talked about spiritual things, but one of the things for me for stepping into 2025 is, this is going to sound not spiritual when I say it, but I do believe it is a spiritual thing. It's, I feel like God is calling me to declutter.
Oh,
And
interesting.
that sounds so like, well, how could that be spiritual? But I think that
Um,
I think that decluttering helps us to be able to focus on what's there. And I feel like it's not just things that take up physical space that I need to declutter. Um, but the Lord is like helping me through a very practical way of decluttering my closet, decluttering my home, decluttering my office. Like, in doing that, what it looks like to um, remove excess and get out of my line of sight the things that take away from what I need to be focused on. It's really about focus.
yeah. I totally see that as a spiritual thing to remove physical things, almost not to put words over what God is showing you, but distractions,
Yes.
to get
It's a
rid of
good word you can put over
distractions.
top of it. And then,
Okay.
yeah, no, it
But
is.
that's
It's
what
like,
stuff gets to be.
so here's the thing, like, how much of what's in your closet do you wear on the regular?
Oh my goodness.
And
I
when you
am so
go,
embarrassed to say.
I know, right? Cuz like when you go to get dressed, you're like, how many times you walk into your closet and you could probably wear a different item of clothing for at least a month and not repeat anything, and you walk into your closet and you're like, I have nothing to wear, I don't know what I'm going to wear. You've got plenty of things to wear, it's just you have so many things that you have to go through to figure out what it is. But what if you eliminated the stuff that you have to go through, and the stuff that was just in front of you was just really viable options? It seems like there's a value to me. I feel like there's a value in that, and it's bigger than just getting dressed in the morning, but
Yeah.
it's starting there.
Right. Right. I think, and honestly, like if just dealing with clothes, like we honestly do just kind of wear our favorite things. And the other things are just there taking up space and bringing confusion when we're making decisions or overwhelming us. Because when we make the statement, I have nothing to
Yeah.
wear, it's because we're overwhelmed.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
so it's really not that we have nothing to wear. There's other stuff going on. So, like, yeah. So, like, thinking about that through life in other areas of life, like even decluttering your kitchen.
Mhm.
I don't know, all of that seems like it would bring, we've said it before, God's not a God of chaos. So it brings order, it brings simplicity. I
Mhm.
think the more things we have, the more things we think we need. So just kind of getting rid of that kind of would help let go of, no, I have what I need here.
And this connects to a Jodyism that I have learned
Oh,
from you that I have taken with me, and maybe I can call it my own now because I have definitely implemented it into my life. But it's simply being kind to my future self.
yeah. It's such a good practice.
It is. There's so
So
much wisdom in that.
give us an example of that.
What do you mean? Like what it
Because it can be
means?
simple things.
Yeah, I think, I mean, to stay on the same topic, to be kind to my future self is, I'm looking at, like, if you were to write a note or write a letter to, if I were to write a letter to Shawna, January 2026, what would I want her to be experiencing, and like what can I do now so that she gets to experience those things? So in other words, if I to stay on the same subject, if I were to go into my closet and declutter my closet and maybe even move the things that are very special event kind of things that take up space in your daily closet. Like find another place for them. And there's a place you can go when you get an event coming up and you can find those things. But the day to day, like if I picture future Shawna walking into her closet, things are not jammed into a tight space. It's just what she needs. And it's she can walk into the closet. The clothes that are in her closet are clothes that actually fit her body, not the stuff that
Yep.
she is holding on to because surely she'll be back in that
Maybe.
size someday. Don't want to get rid of it, because if you get rid of it, that's giving up. That's saying I'm not going to be that size again. Well, you know what? Like, be kind to her for the love.
Yes.
Get rid of it. So like I just picture myself in January of 2026 stepping into my closet and having clothes that I enjoy wearing, that are comfortable for me, that represent me in such a way that I want to show up in the world. And all the other stuff is not there.
I think this is huge. So just the visual of being kind to yourself, but also I love what you just said about if I were to write a letter to future Shauna at the end of 2025, beginning of 2026, what would I want her to experience? What would I want things to be for her? As we set goals at the beginning of this year here, I wonder if in each kind of category we do write a letter
Hmm.
to our future self, because that's when we do that, now we're putting some feet to our goals. Like it's not just, oh, I want to spend time with the Lord for, 25 to 40 minutes quiet every week. It's I want I want at the end
Her.
of this year for me to, yeah, her future
Future
Jody
me.
to experience the intimacy with God,
Yes.
because she has experienced time with him alone in his presence
Yeah.
for an
I,
extended amount of time on a regular basis.
Right. It's kind of like the atomic habits, being formed by our
Yeah.
identity. So like not like, oh, I want to do this thing, but like this is who I am. I'm somebody who loves the Lord, and I'm somebody who nurtures relationship with him. We're close. And because of that, this is a normal part of my week. So it comes from
I
identity
love
instead of
that.
like what you ought to do, because nobody likes that. That's not motivating. That's not
Well,
fun.
and nobody's going to do that. We're not going to,
Right.
that's not sustainable. The oughta
And then if
do's,
you
it's not sustainable.
And then if you don't do it, the thing that you ought to do, then you feel
Right.
like, oh, I failed. No, it's all. So your identity becomes wrapped up in the times that you didn't do it instead of the times that you did. And I know that there's a habit tracker. I was just talking with my daughters about this, but there's a habit tracker in Atomic Habits that allows you to
Mhm.
tick a box every time you do the thing. So if you miss a day or if you miss a box, you can look at this whole sheet of paper that has all these boxes that you've ticked, and you're not like, well, forget it. I'm not doing that anymore because I missed this one day. No, all of those times matter. They're all
Yes.
adding up to who you're becoming. And yeah.
They're a vote for who you are. I think that's some of the words he uses. It's like a vote.
Ooh,
It's a vote for who you are, right?
what? Jody, that is tweetable. I love
Oh,
that.
yeah. I mean, again, this is a process for us. And so I cannot believe we need to wrap this up here, but we will revisit this.
Yeah, I definitely think we should.
Yeah, there's some more processing for us to do in this.
And I am also thinking, like, as we like to add, and that's why our closet gets so cluttered, because we add, we add, we add, we add, we add. And so it makes
Yeah.
me think, like, what do we have to let go of? What do we need to subtract? What needs to be eliminated, as well as, what needs to be added? So let's
I
dive
love
into
that.
that in the next
Let's
episode. What do
talk
you
about
think?
that. I
Okay.
love it. Let's do it.
Cool. Oh man, we are so grateful for you. Thanks for tolerating our isms, our figuring out. We get to learn together, and that's so fun. I just love that. Jody and I love you. We really do, and we're so grateful that you're here. Thank you for spending time with us. Thanks for growing with us. Thanks for all of 2024, and we're excited to walk into 2025 with you. And every week we're going to remind you, because We need to live from this place. It's not, we don't just need to hear it. We need it to sink deep down into our souls that we serve a real God and he really loves you.